welcome to Snobcast, the podcast for film snobs. I'm Chris at the seat, joined by my co-host Almar Miller.
How's it?
And as always, we'll be discussing some recent watches. We have a fun main discussion, and then we'll be doing some upcoming stuff and some movie news. And I guess we'll kick it off with my recent watches, since my list is a bit shorter than yours.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Yeah, I've been a bit busy, so didn't get around to watching too many stuff. But I did watch Rose, which you had seen already.
Oh yeah, I remember you did tell me you watched it, but we haven't spoken about it.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really nice and warm and cozy, and just left me. I had like a smile on my face the whole time I was watching it. So that's always a good sign for me. And you'll recall I said the same thing last week with Playtime, which I'm not comparing this to Playtime at all. But it was like nice. It was just like a film that left me feeling warm. And it's just a movie that I'm like glad exists. And I think a lot of people were like disappointed by it because it was like your classic, like stereotypical, I guess you could say, rom-com, and didn't like really do much to play with that structure.
The wheel.
Or like, yeah, it does in terms, I think, of like the content and like the types of characters and themes, but the structure itself is like your classic. You're gonna know what all the beats are.
Yeah.
But I was expecting that. I was hoping for that. I wanted it to just be like a nice rom-com, and that's exactly what it was. So yeah, enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think I think I said this last time, that I think that was because I didn't hate it. Like, I enjoyed it. I think it was fine. But yeah, that's the reason I didn't enjoy it as much, because I wasn't like into the typical beats of you're gonna meet the guy and then there's gonna be conflict where you're like nearly gonna like break up and maybe not be together, and then this other thing is gonna happen, and then yay, and I was like, okay. But other than that, I enjoyed the ride of like the other content of it being queer and everything. Like, I enjoyed that because I related with a lot of that, and I was like, yeah, on point. That is what gay dating life is like.
It felt just nice to know that a film like this can exist and like exist in a way that's specific to that community, but also accessible for people, which is weird because they kind of make a joke about that in the movie about when he's like writing the gay rom-com, and he's like, you can't write a gay rom-com where the boyfriend will go watch it with his girlfriend. Like, what am I going to be, butt fucking Jason Momoa or whatever he says? So, but I think they do accomplish that. So when I write a joke. But yeah, that's Bros. I don't think there's much more to say about that. The other film that I got to, it was our legendary Mr. Scorsese's 80th birthday the other day. So I finally got around to watching Raging Bull, which I don't think connected with me quite as much as a lot of his other films do. I still think it's a really, really excellent movie, and it's like really well crafted, and I enjoyed it. And enjoy is the wrong word because it's a very like hard movie to watch. No, truly, like it's very angry, and then it becomes very sad. Like, it has this like real anger to it for most of the movie, and then it just becomes very tragic very fast, and all of it is like hard to watch. So it's not like an enjoyable movie. It's a very good movie, and Robert De Niro's performance is incredible, and Joe Pesci's performance is really great as well. And Thelma Schoonmaker's editing in this is like electric. Like, the cutting is so specific and has
What year did this come out?
1980, I think.
Right.
Which is also weird because it feels like it has a very old school feel to it. Like, even like the way that the audio is recorded feels like more old school. And it does play off in those times. I think it's centered in like the 40s and 50s, because it's like it goes over multiple decades or like a decade or something of this guy's life. But yeah, it's just a really like frightening examination of rage, and it's not always easy to watch. But I'm really glad I did watch it. I don't think it's going to be a movie I revisit in Scorsese's catalog as much as I'll revisit a lot of his others. But I'm really glad I finally checked it out, and there's a lot of good stuff in there worth watching.
I still have a lot of Scorsese to watch, so can't chat much there about fucking any of his film references really.
We've probably seen a few of them.
Yeah. But
We've probably seen like Shutter Island and Wolf Street.
Yeah,
like
but like of his like older stuff.
Have you seen Goodfellas?
Nope.
Should watch it. And also, I think his most underrated movie is Silence, which came out in 2016, and it's incredible. It's such a like dense, complex movie. Like,
wait, is that the? No, it's that Andrew got no what?
Yes, Andrew Garfield.
Oh yeah, like I've been meaning to watch that because I've heard so many great things, but I still never have.
They're like Jesuit priests who go to Japan and do like missionary work, and they're like not welcome there. Like their religion is like outlawed, and it's like really dangerous. But it's a really, really complex movie in terms of what it's doing with its themes and what it's exploring, how it's exploring them. Excellent movie, definitely recommend it. Other than that, I rewatched Spencer, which is also another really, really great film. I liked it even more the second time.
I've only seen it once, but I would imagine if I had to watch it again, I would like it even more. And I already really fucking love it.
I really loved it the first time, and I think there was a lot of hype around it at that time. And I was like maybe stifling my hype a bit to like not over examine the movie when I watch it, and then that might have like backfired and like forced myself to like not like it as much as I maybe could have or something. But this time around, I really, really loved it. I think it's like very strong, like thematically what it's doing, and like there's all these like kind of symbols throughout the movie. It really feels like a sad fairy tale.
Yeah. It's also like I just the whole like kind of angle and viewpoint of how they did that whole film, and like how you look at her and her life, like that whole approach to me was so fucking great.
Yeah, I like
it was
that.
So refreshing.
It's not your straight biopic. It's
just
like
not at all. Like you're really kind of almost looking into dealing with like literally someone's head.
Yeah, and just like how the space around that influences it.
Yeah,
like the family she's in and the situation she's in and all this. Yeah. And I don't even see it as like a film about Diana, which it 100% is, and viewing it that way obviously is. But it just feels like a very powerful character study to me. Like
no, that's very much what I got out of it. Is it's like fucking it's a character study, and it's like human condition, and like it's really about.
I mean, it is very specific to her circumstances.
But just the angle, the kind of like how that film looks at it, it's very refreshing. I really like that.
And it's so beautiful, like the way it looks. It's shot so beautifully.
It's shot beautifully, yo.
And
what a performance, dude! Like,
I think it might have been shot by the same DOP as Portrait of a Lady on Fire, if I'm not mistaken.
Don't know.
And Johnny Greenwood did the score, which, as you know, is one of my favorite composers, and it's also an excellent score. Overall, really, really great film. Glad I checked it out again, especially with a bit of time having passed. Like people aren't really like talking about it anymore. Also, one of the best posters in the last few years. It's got a really, really beautiful poster, which I'm sure will pop up here now after you. And then I rewatched the Grand Budapest Hotel because my sister hadn't seen it. And
that's such like what a good time.
Yeah, I genuinely don't feel like I need to say anything about it. It is so much just what it is, and there's like nothing to add to the conversation
It's
at
so
this point.
great.
It's
Yeah.
such a fun, whimsical, charming. It's a charming movie. It
Yeah.
just
I
charms.
remember during lockdown when I did like, I basically covered a whole, well, finished and covered my whole Wes Anderson filmography. And that's the first time I really properly watched Budapest Hotel, because for some reason I had seen bits and pieces of it throughout the years. And I was like, yo, what a fucking good time. Like, what a
It's just very
what a great
charming,
film to
and
sit and watch.
it's very fun and funny and everything that you love about Wes Anderson, like to the max.
Yeah.
And you could say that also about things like The French Dispatch, but just this just feels a bit more lightning in a bottle, like a more, I don't know, just very specific in who was cast and when it came out and the way they did it. I don't know, it just feels very special. Definitely one of his best, as you know, probably not my favorite. I have a few unpopular opinions on what my favorite Wes Anderson movies are, but this one's still really great. And then the last thing I watched last night, actually, well, I watched it in 2 sittings because I got tired, but I finished it last night. I finished it last night, so I rewatched Marriage Story, which
Yo, I nearly
really
rewatched that the other day.
I was feeling like just being like hurting myself and just feeling fake.
I think that's also when I was considering watching that. I was like, I was feeling a very specific kind of way, and I was like, I want to feel pain now. Maybe I should watch
It was either
this.
that or Normal People, but I wanted to just watch it. So with Marriage Story, but I will say about it, I think this is maybe the third time I've seen it. It's the second or third. But there was a few things this time around structurally where I was like, this scene didn't really like change anything. Like it's a good, like there are scenes that are like really good scenes on their own, but if you like zoom back, it doesn't feel like they necessarily like change anything that happens going forward. Like there's a whole big argument scene in the court at the end where Laura Dern and Ray Liotta go at it.
Laura Dern.
She's amazing in that movie. But it's a really great scene and it's really engaging, but like nothing really changes. Of like the results still stay exactly the same afterwards. So it feels in retrospect to me like, oh, this is just the scene where they could like where their lawyers could say the shitty things they said to them to each other. But it doesn't change anything afterwards. And maybe that's part of the point. But all that being said, it's still a really great movie, and there's parts of it that hit really hard for me, like really just gets me in the feels.
Yeah.
And I also think it's like super well edited. Like there are these very like specific noticeable cuts. Like a jump cut into like someone turning around. But there's also these scenes that just play out in like one shot or one take and whatever. And it's like a really good balance between those things, which I think is some really impressive editing.
Yeah.
So it really like lets you stay with the character when you need to, and then it like gives you like a jump also in different moments. Good movie, and that's everything I watched. So short list for me.
That is a short list for you. All right, fuck it. Where's my list? Oh, here it is. Oh, I've got a few. So I finally got around to watching My Policeman. Which initially I was a lot more excited for, like in everything leading up to it, but then I think I just like read a few too many IndieWire articles like post-release that probably could have also like had an effect on how I view this film, but also yeah. Anyway, I don't really have much to say. It's fine. It actually feels quite empty at times, which like it's a fine movie. I didn't feel much though. So yeah, I'm disappointed basically. I was hoping for like better. I don't think it's terrible by any means, but yeah, it's fine.
Harry Styles' performance.
No, no. And I'm not getting on the Harry Styles hate train, as there's obviously been a thing recently, but no, it was very.
Here's the important question though: did he spit on Chris Pine? No, I'm joking. I really don't care about that.
It was just very like one note and like flat throughout. So like, yeah, just when he was like jumping between different emotions, it was just, I don't know, it just doesn't sit so
Yeah, it
well
felt
with
the
me.
same way in Don't Worry, Darling. It's also like,
because the only
I feel
acting
it
thing I've had to go off of
overacted.
was what he did in Dunkirk, which was like not speak.
There was a review on Letterboxd where it was like, I fully understand why Nolan told this guy to shut up during Dunkirk.
There was probably like there might have been two moments throughout that whole film through in My Policeman where I was like, oh, there was like a little something there that was nice, but other than that, I'm talking about his performance now. Other than that, was very just, yeah. Anyway, other wonderful, beautiful, fucking sweet, sincere film I watched, which I know you've seen, was Marcel, the shell with shoes on.
Oh, so beautiful. I love
Oh,
that movie.
dude,
I
I
want to watch it
had,
again. I've only seen it the one time, but I really
it
loved it.
was,
That's
I
another
had,
one with just a
yeah, dude,
smile.
literally, like, that's what this was me the whole film. I just sat there with this smile on my face, like, oh my god, this is just so beautiful and adorable and sweet and sincere, and
It's really like funny
yeah, it
and
has
like
some really
silly,
like funny things.
but it's also so poignant and
Yeah,
like sincere. And and I think I said this in my review for Marcel, or possibly a different movie that was also sincere. But I said it recently for something that I have a very, very soft spot for films that can pull off sentimentality in like a sincere way. Because it can
yeah,
come off really cheesy and bad if it's like done wrong. But if you can do that whole like sentimental sincerity kind of vibe and make it feel authentic and make it feel truthful, I
yeah.
have a real soft spot for that. So
No, so
can
yeah,
really
very much
scratch that itch.
love that. Would recommend it to anyone. Literally any person should watch
Jenny
this.
Slate MVP.
Just any person should watch this. It's like I don't even think this is like specific, like you'll like this or not like it. I'm just like, just watch it. Like you're just gonna sit there with a smile on your face. Then I saw, which I'm still unclear whether it's Stutz or Stats. Even after watching it, I'm not sure.
Man, I remember you mentioning that you watched that and thinking that I should switch it. And thinking that I was gonna watch it as well by the time we record again, so we can really talk about it. But I never got around to it.
Yeah, I'm also not going to say too much about it. Also, like keen for you to watch it, and I know you're going to. And then share thoughts on it. But yeah, just in general, I'm like very conflicted about it, and I'm leaning more towards the side of not a vibe for me. It's I don't think you can really watch it and not feel conflicted though. Because just the nature of the approach of this film, documentary, whatever, um, does raise a lot of questions and does become very conflicting in itself. But yeah, what it turned out to be, and at the end is like, yeah, it's many things that I maybe necessarily don't morally sit with, and yeah, for the most part, conflicted. So
Like
as I said,
ethically.
yeah, so I think leaning towards the side of not. But that's about as much as I really have on that.
I'll
But keen for you
definitely
to
check
see
it
it and
out.
then chat about it.
I'm still keen to watch it, and I've heard other people say they really liked it, so I'm still gonna definitely check it out.
There is some anyway when you watch it, but there is some interesting things that they do in terms of like the creative filmmaking side and process of it, of how they kind of present it at times. But anyway, yeah.
As you know, I was a fan of mid-90s, so I'm keen to see Jonah Hill doing anything behind the camera and just seeing what else he has to offer in that world.
Oh wait. Right, what else? I saw Decision to Leave
Oh
from Mr.
man, I
Park
really
Chan-wook.
need to check that out.
Yo, I like there's not
I don't actually even want to hear what you like. I really want to go into this blind, but yo, go ahead.
like not this isn't even like accurate, but after I watched this, like I don't know why this stuck in my head, but I was like, wait, is this Park Chan-wook's Phantom Thread?
You could not have said anything to make me want to watch it even more.
But
because you know, Phantom Thread is like,
yeah, but like when you watch it, you might understand what I mean, because it's like not really like a haha clever like reference, but it kind of anyway. You watch it. Yeah.
It's funny that you say that. I watched the interview. Well, I watched like a panel recently with like a lot of the directors from that year that Phantom Thread came out, and it was the same year that Shape of Water was out as well. So Guillermo and Paul Thomas Anderson were both on the panel, and they were like going through talking about each other's movies and what they liked about each other's movies. And when they got to Guillermo and he was talking about Phantom Thread, he was like, all I'll say is I did a movie called Crimson Peak, and when I saw Phantom Thread, I was like, that's how I should have done
it. Nice.
I was like, oh yeah, I see what you mean there. Because it's also, I think Phantom Thread also has like a kind of gothic vibe to it, but not in such a deliberate way as someone like Guillermo would do. It's more like subtly gothic, like old period-y gothic. Reynolds Woodcock has this vampiric kind of quality to him. But yeah, I definitely want to watch Decision to Leave as soon as possible. It's been one that I've had on my radar ever since it was like announced. So
but yes, very much would recommend, and I'll move it on from there. Then I saw, I'm not going to elaborate too much on them. I rewatched Hocus Pocus because I wanted to see the second one.
I've never seen it.
I mean, I've always thought it was fine. I've only like watched it in my 20s, I think, for the first time, and I was like, let me see what people are always going on about. Why is this such a classic? And like it is, it's cute. Anyway, I watched the second one, and you know, it's Disney.
It's a Disney movie in 2022.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that. But yeah, so I watched those. I don't know why I don't even know why I rewatched this. I just did. I rewatched.
I know why you're saying we'll leave it at that, because you don't want me to go on a Disney rant for 20 minutes.
No, I just don't want to spoil the movie that I know you so desperately want to watch.
Yes, that too.
Oh, so I rewatched the 1994 Flintstones film, which that was a ride. I don't know. I recall watching two of them a lot as a kid. It was this one, and the other ones I think was like Viva Rock Vegas. Rock Vegas, yeah, not Las Vegas, Rock Vegas.
I saw them both when I was a kid. I don't think they ever stuck with me as like childhood favorites throughout the years, but I definitely saw them.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why I watched this. I put it on and I watched it, and it's a movie. Then I
love it on Letterboxd when people, because I've seen it a few times, when people like log a bad movie or just like a weird movie or something, and they're like, this was one of the movies of all time.
Oh, nice. Then let me skip that one. I just thought I might want to add that to a list of recommendations for some point. Then I rewatched. We spoke earlier about wanting to feel a certain type of way. So when I decided not to punish myself with Marriage Story. Can
I guess?
Oh, you absolutely know what I'm about to say, because firstly we spoke about this in the podcast last time, and I spoke to you this while I was watching it. I spoke to you, but yeah.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go for it.
So you watched Mommy again?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I was feeling some type of way, and then I was like, when I feel a certain type of way, when I'm feeling a lot of things, I want to watch a movie that's also just gonna exert a certain fucking emotion out of me in abundance. And
Yeah,
Mommy
which
is usually
Xavier
a
Dolan's
good,
whole shtick.
yeah, which Mommy is usually a good go-to for
Emotion
me
in
then.
abundance. It's like his
Yeah.
thing.
Then Mommy is just always a good go-to for me because I know no matter how many times I watch that film, and I think this was probably, I don't know, this must have been like 10. Since I watched it for the first time, which I think is a lot. And yeah, it still made me feel all the things. We'll have a Mommy discussion one day, I think. Like, we'll do a whole separate
probably.
episode. We'll do like a whole Nolan
Well, we
episode.
were talking. I was just. Did you just say Nolan?
Did I?
I don't know. We'll have to go check playback.
Anyway, Dolan.
Yeah, I was telling you the other day I would love to do some more stuff in terms of like top 10 films from certain directors or like top 10 films about love or whatever. So maybe we could do that sometime.
Definitely.
But yeah, Mommy always hits for me as well. As you know, I think it's in like my top 5 favorite movies of all time. So, yeah, there's nothing much to say other than that it's incredible.
Yeah. Thank you is all I can say to you.
I wasn't going to say it, but...
Then I saw you saw this already and I got around to watching it, was Weird Al.
Yeah.
Which
it was really fun.
Dude, fuck, I had such a great time with it. I think it's really ridiculous. Like it's not like some masterpiece thing, but I actually like
not at all. It's actually kind of like
if I can
you
actually
can really pick it apart if you want, but
if I really do have to rate it though, I would give it a fucking great rating because I think it, in terms of what it is trying to do, it is doing all of those things. It is
exactly.
like it's that film is doing it. Yeah, the film.
It's like, a Weird Al movie about a parody. Like you got that.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I had a fucking great time with it. Like it's one of those where if anything is wrong with it, I can completely look past this because I was like, this is such a fucking, it's such a wild ride. It's such a wild ride.
That did bother me a little bit while watching it was the editing. It had some jarring cuts and stuff every now and then, I think. But other than that, it's just a good time. Yeah. It was really fun. It's so silly. Like it's one of the silliest
it's ridiculous. It's not even silly. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but it is ridiculous. But I feel silly also just is a good word to describe the sense of humor it has. It's
yeah.
It's very.
I would agree.
It doesn't take itself seriously, but at the same time, it plays everything very straight. Like the polka party thing is like played as like a. It's like played as if it's like a real like serious situation.
It's a fucking crime.
Yeah.
So my parents are gonna ground me. This is like, we can't be here, guys.
Yeah. We can't be listening to polka.
Yeah. I it's the kind of
also
film
Daniel Radcliffe is great. I love him. I think
he's just
really
great
good
at comedy, dude. He's so great at comedy. It's also one of those films where like I'm keen to rewatch it in terms of to sit down with someone and rewatch it, because it's one of those where I can just see like watching this with a bunch of friends, you're gonna just fucking be laughing the whole fucking time and be being like, what the hell is going on here?
It is a see it with a buddy movie.
Yeah. Then I saw but anyway, great ride. Go watch that. I would recommend. Then I saw I have thoughts about this. I saw The Life and Death of Marsha P. Johnson, which
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
It's a documentary about kind of the queer movement and how it was led by, at the time, well, not at the time, it was led mostly by drag queens, and how they got shunned off to the side a lot, and like how like the LGBTQ community started like treating them. Really, it's about Marsha B. Johnson though, who it was one of those cold cases. Like they found her body in the river, in the lake or whatever. And it was just like a cold case for years, and then people were like obviously want to get justice because people are smelling foul play and this and that.
I was just gonna say it's probably a cold case because they just didn't look into it.
Yeah.
Or, like,
The
didn't
only
bother
reason
with
I'm like conflicted about it and I haven't looked this up myself is because I initially like I enjoyed it, but I did see several things, and this was on Letterboxd logs. There were several things going around the whole time about how I think the director of this stole the story or idea from like black queer person whose name I cannot recall now. Anyway, so I haven't like looked into
You're
it.
part of the problem.
Yeah, I am because I haven't looked into it. So yeah, I did see a lot of controversy around it. That aside, in terms of the actual people's story who this fucking should be about, yeah, it was heart-wrenching, and yeah, I wouldn't be as a queer kid if it literally wasn't for people like that. So thanks a lot. Then moving on, I saw finally, yes, I finally saw Drive My Car.
Oh yeah, we've been talking about that for like 2 years almost.
Like I woke up at like 2 or 3 in the morning and I couldn't sleep, and I decided to put on a 3-hour film. Which I mean I don't have a problem with. I probably have a lot to say about it, but I did try and just like kind of summarize it all in one. Really fucking loved it. It's a very slow, meticulous story of getting to know people, like who they are, what they do, what they're dealing with. And what I write here, I say, look at dealing with the genuine nature of people, what that means, and even perhaps being miserable and still realizing at the end of the day that we still have to live this life. And you have to, well, there's like kind of a reference in the metaphor in the film itself about a lamprey, which is like this little, I don't know if it's a little fish or what, but it can like attach to, like if a river's fucking moving fast, it attaches itself to like a rock or whatever to like hold on, or at least that's what it looks like, which I think is like
it
a massive,
like a Pokemon.
literally lamprey, I choose you. Sounds like a Pokemon name even. But anyway, I think that's like a massive metaphor for the whole film, because it is like fucking life can get rough, but you just still have to fucking cling on. Like you might be dealing with misery, but at the end of the day, you're still alive. You're still here.
Cool.
But yeah, anyway, a lot of what that film deals with. So it's a slow burn,
I'm gonna
deep,
definitely
tragic.
maybe one day check it out.
Yeah, I would not even really tragic.
Films where during the award season, I was like, "Cool, I have to watch this," and then award season passed, and people like stopped talking about it, and like and then I just kind of forgot about it as well.
But yeah, great. Would recommend. Then I saw. Oh fuck! I saw Triangle of Sadness, which I did tell you. And I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. I had some genuinely hysterical laughter moments, but for the sheer like craziness of everything that was going on. Definitely feel like it drags a bit in the end. But like, yeah, like there is a lot that I loved about it. I will say liked it, not even liked it less because I do like it, but enjoyed it less than I thought I was going to, or liked it less than I thought I would. Thoroughly enjoyed.
Semantics.
Liked it less. Yeah.
I think it's a blast. I do see what you mean by dragging at the end. I do remember in the theater also thinking that the third act section could have been shorter, like spend more time in the second act and then make the third act a bit shorter. But I still like that act and what it does, because it's kind of part of the whole point, because it like flips the whole situation around.
No, like I like everything they do. I just, yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was just really, really fun. So, and I gushed about it last time. So,
yeah, I didn't really have much more to say about it, but like, I'm very glad the film exists. It's like when it fucking hits, it hits.
I was telling you last time that it's for me weird because it's something like Men feels unsubtle but in a very annoying way.
Yeah.
And this feels unsubtle in a very deliberate, like we know how unsubtle and ridiculous this is. But that's the point.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Here the Men. Oof. Then well, I mean, I think we're gonna talk actually a little bit more about this down the line. But I saw the 1977 Suspiria last night. But
yeah, we're planning on having a guest on soon. Well, we're gonna have several guests on soon.
Yeah, very excited.
Yes, one of which who recommended something. I guess I
anyway,
say
I mean, whatever. Well, we are further going to discuss this film and things.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious at this point.
But I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter. We'll be watching that. Yeah, that's the fucking list. That took forever. M'excuse. But yeah, it was quite a meaty one.
Cool.
Yeah, there was another one, but I'm actually gonna just add that to a list of things I might recommend to you, so I'm not gonna mention that for now. Yeah, cool.
Which will be in a while, because I think the next two recordings will.
Yeah, we'll only have our own recommendations next year again, which is like a month, but yeah.
Okay, cool. So with that, I guess we can then just move on to your recommendation. Go ahead and introduce it.
Yeah, so I am very actually keen to. We haven't spoken about this at all. I just also realized I forgot the director's name. Yeah, so last week I recommended. Yeah, last week I recommended Barbarian by director Zach Cregger, which two people double booked in an Airbnb and got so
okay. I'm gonna just say spoilers.
Yeah, absolutely.
We always talk spoilers in the main discussion, but for this, I just want to make it very clear because it is like you want to go into this blind.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess you kick it off. Or wait, no, should I and then you? I'm not sure. Anyway, do you?
I'll just tell you that I like this, but I don't think I liked it nearly as much as it seems like a lot of other people are liking it. It's always like hard to say the negative things without it sounding like overwhelmingly negative. So I want to like preface by saying that I did overall enjoy it. I'm even using it as a reference for something I'm working on now. But yeah, it was a little disappointing to me, just in terms of how hyped up it was. And there were certain things in the film that I wasn't a fan of, or like didn't work or click for me as well. But there was also a lot of it that was great, and that like took me, and it still took me by surprise a lot. And that's what the main thing I was hoping for. But yeah, that's like my general thoughts. We can go more into detail about like the plot and like what I liked and didn't like. But what's your overall?
I mean, I loved it. I think one of my favorite things, where you kind of basically touched on it now, is like it because we gave the spoiler warning, is like because the film constantly it did like surprise me. Like I was the whole time kind of going like, okay, what's next? Like what's happening next? And then this thing happens next. I'm like, oh fuck, I didn't quite expect that. So yeah, it constantly kept me on my toes, which I really enjoyed.
Wouldn't say constantly. It surprised me like really surprised me like one time, like during the middle. and the rest of it was like not necessarily the first thing you'd think of, but I wouldn't say as big of like shake-ups to the whole what's going on as much as that one reveal towards like the middle of it is, which is the Shining lady
right
coming. No, the Shining lady all of a sudden being like in that dungeon. I was like,
oh, Keith, poor Keith.
Yeah,
justice for Keith. Fuck.
Yeah, he was creepy.
It was creepy when he was just sitting there waiting with a bottle of wine with a bow around it. That was creepy. I did read something interesting.
No, you go ahead.
That Zach Cregger, I can't remember there's someone else who wrote a book that this is a guy who he like investigated like a lot of like fucking celebrity stalkers and stuff, basically like investigating human behavior and things. And this guy wrote a book about like all of the tiniest like little red flags and things that you can kind of point out in people. And then Zach Cregger wanted to just do a scene where he could like fit in as many red flags as he possibly can, as he possibly could, and then just like still be like, but he's not the bad guy that you thought he was, actually.
And I saw that coming from a mile away.
Yeah. That because it would have been too fucking obvious.
I was like, this guy is also just a victim in this, like from the beginning. I was like, they're trying so hard to make him look creepy, and the things he does, which I think is clever, the things he does and says, can be like taken as either creepy or just like normal.
They are very like double meaning or intent, or
like
one thing
just be being sincere, but there is like the creepy undertone to it.
One thing that I'll say is like, this is how like well, not how, because they are different, but this is how men should have thought about approaching its topics surrounding men and women and perspective. I think this film does a lot better job of delivering commentary on that, which I think, and it also goes like through until the end. I think that's actually like one of the main kind of themes that I did get from it, was a commentary on like exactly that, but done in a very smart way. And not in like overtly like, oh, I'm trying to be overly smart like men did it, because that was like it's on the nose.
It was that for me, like the whole talking about men and their sense of superiority or like predatory behavior.
Yeah.
But it was also like very much about like America for me, and like the difference between like Reagan era America and like now. And like how that influenced where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much history also just behind Detroit in general, and how that place like came to be to where it is now.
But the thing I wanted to say is, I like how it surprised me like through the middle with because I was thinking like, there's a third person who owns this place or whatever. And then that does end up happening. It's Justin Long. But I thought there was like a third person like puppeteering what's going on there, and like kind of playing a game with them or something.
Yeah.
And then it ends up being this monster, like I said, the bathtub lady from The Shining ends up being like the thing. So that really did take me by surprise. It didn't take me by surprise at all that it wasn't, what's his name, Keith. It wasn't Keith. I was from the beginning like, it can't be him. Like it's because everyone says that the movie is gonna like surprise you, and I'm like, okay, so obviously
the Keith thing didn't surprise me. Like it was just like,
it does feel like they wanted to
that.
though. Like it does feel like they're really trying to put as much of the eggs in that basket so you can be like, oh, this is the guy. But I was never sold on that. And there was another part that kind of annoyed me that was very specific. When she goes down and she finds the room and there's the bed, the bucket, and the camera.
Yeah.
And then she like goes up to him and she's like, there's a bed, a bucket, and a camera down there. And then he just keeps repeating, what? A bed and a bucket? And the whole time I was like, you're leaving out the weirdest part of that sentence, like deliberately, so it seems like the movie can justify him being like, why are you talking about it's just a bed and a bucket? Like what? But it's like, yeah, and a camera. Like, why are you leaving that out?
No, but
That
he does
changes
mention the
everything.
camera.
He does not. I wrote a note about it. Like he gets fixated on it's just a bed and a bucket. We're in an Airbnb, and it's like, no, but there's a camera, dude. Like, why are you ignoring that? And then the other thing was because I don't really like taking notes while I watch movies, but I did like a little bit with this one, and I kind of stopped as soon as the Shining Lady thing happened. But before that, I wrote a few things down, and some of them were like the choices that the main character makes are idiotic. I found it really hard to root for her because she makes really dumb choices. And at first, I was like, okay, this is setting up for something, but it never really did. She just kind of made dumb choices.
Dumb choices like what?
Just leave. Like when he's in the basement screaming and like there's clearly some bad shit going on down there. You just met this guy. He's creepy. Like, just get in your car and get the fuck out of there. Like,
no, she like gave him the benefit of the doubt in not thinking he is a bad guy and wanted to go and save his life. That says a lot more about her.
I think you can think he's a good guy and still be like, okay, but I'm gonna get the fuck out of. If I'm being honest with myself, I wouldn't have stayed.
I think, but her making the choice to go down there like adds to her character for me. So I was like, okay, cool. This is the kind of person you are.
It didn't play for me in that way at all. It was just like,
because she like reiterates that again after she like gets out and that man on the street gets her and he's like, let's go, and she's like, no, well, there's a dude there. I can't just fucking leave him.
Yeah, I suppose, but it didn't feel that way to me. It felt more like we need her down there. We need her to go down there, and it didn't feel to me like there was enough of a relationship or establishment that she is such a caring person for her to now all of a sudden make that extreme decision. Like she was very on the fence the whole time, and then as soon as that weird shit starts happening, she's like, okay, well, I'm in it now. Let me go down in this dungeon. So that kind of annoyed me, but there was other things that was really cool. They keep setting you up for cliches and they're not doing it, which was super cool. Because me and my sister were watching it together, and then it would be the thing of like, she goes down the stairs and she leaves the door, and then it's like, like the door's gonna close, and you're like, oh, really? Like you're not gonna prop the door open or whatever, and then it's like her catching the door, and it like just and there was a lot of stuff like that, like a phone ringing or whatever, and then it's not what you think it is, or just little stuff like that. And there was a lot of like clever setup and payoff in a way that it makes you go at first like, oh, they're doing this, like I've seen this in every other horror movie, and then it doesn't do that. So that was cool. And Justin Long was great.
He played such a great fucking terrible human being. Yeah.
And there was one part in this that was hilarious, where he goes down to Detroit to like loosen up assets. So he goes to the Airbnb that he owns,
and then he wants to like
discovers the weird rooms and
the basement.
Stuff. He's not like what's going on. He's just like, okay, can you include basement in script? Yeah. And he starts like measuring it, and he's going down this creepy tunnel. And he's just like, okay, I just like, because he doesn't care about anything except for
that. Was probably like the thing that irritated me the most. I was like, yes, as you've never worked with a tape measure in your life, because what you're doing right now is not possible. I was like, who's on the other end trying to hook that piece for you so that you can fucking walk down this very long fucking alleyway and get a proper measurement? I was like, that is where I draw the line.
I just thought it was a very funny gag, so I enjoyed it. it spoke a lot to his character and gave the movie a bit of needed levity in a moment right after Keith's head gets smashed against the wall. Oh, and then I also think at the end it becomes stupid, personally.
In
Like when
terms
they're
of
with the homeless. I don't know, it just felt like a different movie. When they're like with the homeless man in his tent, and I don't know, it just felt off to me. It felt like not the same thing. It felt like all of a sudden it's like a zombie apocalypse movie or something.
do you mean
And
like would you have liked it if it was like the whole film was just contained to that house?
maybe that would have made it. I should rewatch it to like be super clear on all these things. I should have probably rewatched it closer to this recording, but I do remember just that part kind of sitting
I
with me,
remember
not
like the first
in
time
the right way.
I watched it when they kind of brought the figure, the woman, the bathtub lady from The Shining, when they brought her like to the outside area of the house, like it definitely does feel to me like, okay, I was like, okay, this is like kind of a bit of a shift. But then when I rewatched it this week, like it felt completely fine to me, because then I also picked up on other things that they say earlier. Like they do set up in the beginning that she does
Yes, the
roam
van.
this. Yeah, she's like, she does roam this area in the evenings, and that is why the fucking doors in the house
But
like are
that's
opening.
part of why I was like, what is this? Like, is this an apocalypse movie now that she's roaming this place and society is just carrying on like fuck all is happening? And I get what it's saying then at the end, because then when she complains to the police people, it's like, oh, she's just another like drug addict from the
Yeah.
poor neighborhood, and she's talking crazy. And I get that, but at a certain point, like, I don't know, it feels
Well,
like
because I was
feels a little far fetched, and obviously it is. It's like a borderline like sci fantasy with how far it goes with that figure.
years of
But the
incestual
rest
fucking.
the rest of the movie felt more grounded to me, and then the end felt like an action movie, or like I said, like a zombie apocalypse or something. Like, oh, this creature that's roaming around and we all have to hide from it at night. And I don't know, it felt very different to me, and
Yeah.
not in a good way, personally.
Yeah, no,
I did think it was really funny when Justin Long threw her off the water tower at the end, and makes complete sense.
yeah, because initially were like, oh, they're gonna try and give the fucking trash human being some form of a redemption arc, and then they kind of go that way, and then they're like, whoop, nope, he's still a fucking dick. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yay, I'm glad you kept him a piece of shit, because there's no redemption for this fucking
Yeah.
nutty. But
Well, that is what he is.
yeah, that absolutely is what it is. But like with the rewatch, I was more on board with like her roaming this outside area, because I also realized like there's only two things that she knows and understands. It is taking things by force of a violent nature, because that's the only thing that she fucking learned from what's his name, Frank. Anyway, the old man in the house.
Which is also weird.
That's the only thing she knows, and the
complete
one other only thing she knows is like mothering, because it's just that constant video. So these are the two things her personality consists out of, is like being violent, forceful, and motherly. So that's when I kind of went like, cool, I'm fine and on board with her roaming this outside area, because she's only has like this one fucking purpose.
I got that. Like, that didn't go over my head, but it still felt jarring and not, I don't know, didn't feel like a part of the same movie to me. And I think there's maybe a way to communicate that message in a less like campy, because it felt campy. It felt like cheesy campy towards the end. And I also think the man, whatever his name was, and the whole thing, how he keeps burning people or whatever, that also didn't line up for me completely. But yeah, I do probably just need to watch it again. But that was also like, so what, does she like bring him food? Like, what's happening? Like, is he just like, because he's bedridden? I'm like, who is he fucking stole to like create these?
I did
I don't
really
know. There was a lot
think
of it
because
that
I
fell
do think
apart
there are
for
some
me
like
towards the end.
I do think there's like some there's like a lot of unanswered questions that you as an audience member can have about that film. Like there's a lot more that I guess I would like to know just to explain like the fucking that whole underground thing a bit more and like how does he survive and live in things. But I think I just ignore a lot of that because I see the film just from the perspective of this story. It's trying to tell like the main theme and thing. So that I think that's why I probably forgive and ignore a lot of the other things that maybe feel a bit, I don't know, unclear or meh.
I get you, and I do, but I feel like I also got those themes and those like the message the film is trying to communicate. Like I got all of that, but it also didn't feel to. It feels like the focus could have been even more on that, and not in a way like we were saying with men. It doesn't have to be like less subtle than it is, but just I don't know, just maybe keep it more close to the chest or something, because they kind of did a lot of like big reveals, but then those big reveals don't really make all that much sense to me. And that, for me personally, takes away from the messaging. Even though I like understand what the film is trying to say, it makes me feel less invested because I'm like, okay, but this makes sense, but this doesn't. So it doesn't like connect. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah,
But I
anyway.
did like it. There was a lot of like good about it, and I think there's a lot like to take away from that you can learn from in terms of like filmmaking as well. And like I said, the setup and payoff and atmosphere, it creates a
There's also
very
some like very very cool shots that they did as well. They're like they actually like they tried to do something with the camera. It wasn't just like we're gonna film this horror movie in this house. Like
yeah,
it at least looked like they actually tried to do something.
definitely in parts. Yeah,
There was another thing on that note. It's left my brain. Left my brain. But yeah, oh yeah, the last little nose boop at the end.
didn't work for me.
No,
like
that
I
like
said,
that's
the
not my
whole
favorite part.
movie becomes ridiculous for me in like the last half hour in a way that it wasn't before that. Like it becomes a lot less grounded and like it feels
The real question is,
a B
Quibus,
movie towards the end or something.
will you drink the titty milk?
Yes, it looked delicious.
Looked so great.
I will say that one part where I think Justin Long also gets put in the cage and she's down there, and then the mother figure, I think it's called mother in the script.
Yeah, I think so too.
Comes down in there, and then there's that part where she's like in his face and she's like, bah, 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 bah. That was really creepy. Like I was like I feel very uncomfortable right now. So it did have like very effective moments in that regard, but and also why was the camera and the bed and the bucket there?
That was obviously the fucking previous years when Frank fucking that's where he tied up the girls and fucking did shit. I guess
why is there a whole underground bunker then as well?
That must have come with time. I'm assuming like that was first and then because that looks like a fucking that tunnel looks like a self-made fucking job. I did read a thing where what's his name, Zach?
I don't think you can do that without a contractor.
Where Zach was like, people were asking like, oh, like the tunnels and things and stuff, and I think he literally said, he's like, I'm not sure if he said Frank, I think he might have said like Frank might have done it himself, but he also immediately went to like, I'm not planning on making any kind of prequel or a thing here to like give out any more detail, like. But sure, if you want to go with Frank dug those tunnels, Frank dug the tunnels.
Tiny spider in here, and it's really distracting because I don't like spiders.
But you might just get superpowers.
No, I don't. It's not worth it. All
but
that responsibility, who needs that?
Barbarian, Lacquer.
Yeah, like I said, I think there's a lot that I liked about it, and I think there's also some stuff that I didn't like about it. Overall, I think it's definitely worth watching. I think it's definitely something that you should check out if you're interested in films and if you're interested in horror. And but it didn't stick with me the way it did with a lot of other people, or land with me in quite such a strong way as it clearly did for a lot of other people, because it's very popular right now, and like a lot of people were like raving about it. And I think that probably also inevitably will always contribute to your expectation of something, and maybe that influences things, but it just didn't land for me quite as well as I hoped it would have, but still definitely worth watching.
Oh wait, lekker.
Well, yeah, then unless you have anything else to add to Barbarian, we can move
No.
on to some upcoming stuff and some movie news, which you can go ahead and start us off with that.
Oh wait, I can do that. Yeah, no, I don't have much to add. Loved it. Definitely one of my favorite horror films of this year, and can see myself recommending it to more people and watching it again myself. Right, on to the movie newsels. Quite a fucking few things going on this week. Some very cool stuff that I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
First I have here on the list is the new film Inside with Willem Dafoe
Willem Dafoe
himself.
looks very interesting.
Yeah, checked out the trailer, looked very interesting.
I
Probably
just
one of
like
those
the
like
idea of Willem Dafoe being like the only person I see for the entire. It probably won't be quite that extreme. There will probably be other people along the way, or like towards the end or whatever. But the idea of like a solo led Willem Dafoe
I'm can be
project is
very on
great.
board with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think also it will be one of those where I'll probably check it out by the time it's like on VOD.
I don't imagine this playing theaters in South Africa.
Right then next, you sent me this. I didn't read up much about it, so I don't really know if there is a lot of info. Maybe you would know more. But Tarantino planning on shooting a series.
Yeah, I don't know much about it either. I just know he said he wants to do a series, which I thought was the way he's spoken about
Many things.
TV and cinema, and how the difference and versus and whatever felt a little like hypocritical to me. Like, oh, now you're doing a TV show.
Yeah, because
like talking down to TV, this like always.
Yeah, because this is like on Variety, and literally the only things it says is that he wants to shoot an 8-episode film, like 8-episode series next year in 2023.
He like says if he's watching a film that's being digitally projected in a cinema, he feels like he's being cheated. It feels like he's watching a TV show, like not a movie, because it's not like projected on film. And I'm like, you say that, but now you're making a TV show. Like, I don't get you. I guess he wasn't saying there's something wrong with TV. I guess he was just saying when he goes to the cinema, he wants that experience and not digital projection.
I mean, he directed like 2 episodes of CSI in 2005.
I think he also directed an episode of ER.
That's very possible. But yeah, if he does an 8-episode TV show, I'm definitely keen to see what the man does with it.
Yeah, I don't think I worship Tarantino quite as much as a lot of other people do, but you'd be a fool to say he's not a talented filmmaker.
Yeah, no, that'd be a very big fool. Right, moving on. Ooh, this very, very excited for is the new Pixar film, Elemental.
Yeah, we just got a little teaser for that.
Yeah, but just that little teaser, I was already like, I'm keen. I don't know if it's how many of the same people are involved in terms of like, what was it, Inside Out? Inside Out.
I don't want to like judge too much just on a little teaser,
Yeah,
but I will say it felt very obvious to me. It felt very
yeah.
like this is an
Oh,
obvious
yeah, yeah,
Pixar
yeah.
movie.
This is fire. This is water. You clearly don't work together, but this
Opposites
is
attract, so
but this is going to
and
be a
it just
film about like dating people, well, being connecting with people that aren't the same as you, and it's going to be something
and
like a
all
thing.
of that just feels very like obvious Pixar. It doesn't feel like they like stretch their imaginations too much to like come up with that. Which
But
is the thing you want from Pixar is to like stretch their
I think I'm just
imagination.
naturally excited because even though they have been, I feel the quality has taken a bit of a dip for me recently ish. Um,
Yeah,
Still
they're
though,
still
whenever
doing a
Pixar
lot more
is
like sequels and stuff.
whenever Pixar does do something though, I'm always very excited to see what it is going to be.
Yeah,
Because for the
definitely.
most part they
I'm
still
not
have a
saying like
fantastic track record. But I'm with you.
that's what
I
I'm
also
saying.
understand what you mean.
I don't want to judge just based on this teaser. The film itself might be incredible, but
Yeah.
just the initial idea of it, I was like, seems like it seems like the kind of thing you would make a parody of Pixar for.
Yeah.
Like,
um right, then next that it was I think this was like an Instagram little trailer short is The Oak Thorn and the Old Rose of Love from David Lowery.
yeah, it's a short film though, right?
Yeah. I saw that little
In the
snippet
green
and
light universe.
is it oh wasn't sure if it's in the same universe. I
I
thought they were
think
just
it's
like David
connected
Lowery, director
somehow.
of no.
No, I think I could be mistaken, but I think it's somehow connected to the Green Knight.
Keen. Even like that movie was a bit meh for me, but very cool to see this more in this fleshed out world. Maybe I'm not in terms of make this a thing. I'm just
The Green
it's they
Knight, I
build a very
really want
cool
to watch
world.
again
Same. I
because
will
I
agree with you
also
on that.
felt like kind of meh, but it's also because I think it was just very different from what I was expecting,
Yeah.
and it just threw me off. So I want to see it again.
Yeah, keen. I'd also be keen to watch that again. Then there was news about Taika's new film, Next Goal Wins, with Michael
Yeah,
Fassbender, I think.
I've, I used to be like really on board with like a Waititi, and now I'm like not at all anymore, really. Um, it didn't. I love his older stuff, and then the more he's made new stuff, the less I've liked it.
Um, um, I mean, I did not enjoy the last Thor film.
I haven't seen it, but I didn't enjoy Jojo Rabbit, which everyone loves.
Um, I I enjoyed Jojo Rabbit. Um, but I mean, his stuff before that definitely way better. Like,
Boy is like
yeah.
amazing.
But still keen to see what he does. I think he is
Yeah,
great with
it
humor. It
does
just
seem
like
like
it maybe he just had a bit of a lull, and we won't go into the new Thor films humor.
it's
But
also that's also like part of the Marvel machine.
yeah,
And they can say that they give their directors as much creative freedom as they want, but that's not true. I'm sorry, that's just not true.
oh yeah, no,
But this does
there's a
look like
certain
he's
formula.
going a bit closer to like his roots. It seems like a smaller kind of thing. So hopefully, and Michael Fassbender's in it, so that's nice.
Always a plus. Then it's not really news, but I sent this to you about Avatar Studios putting out some new Airbender posters,
Oh yeah,
which is just like it's newsworthy because that show has been done, but it's newsworthy because I only realized like this month that they are bringing out a fucking full-fledged film with the original characters.
I
It's
didn't
the
know it
first
either
one
until you
from their
told me, and
studio.
I
So,
don't know how I feel about it, to be honest.
um,
I will say here right now, I think I said it to you the other day. There's obviously like a lot of great TV shows out there that over the years, like Breaking Bad and Barry and Game of Thrones and BoJack Horseman, like amazing television. But if I ask my heart, what is my favorite TV show of all time? It is Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I'm like very precious about it. So I know
You're
it's the
gatekeeping
original.
it.
Yes. No, I'm just precious. Like I honestly would rather, if I could like see into the future and I'd like know it's not gonna like live up to the show or whatever, I would rather just not have it.
I
'Cause
know,
I
but you
will
probably had
watch
the
the
same
show.
fears about Korra, and that ended up being fucking great.
Fucking great is a strong word. It ended up being pretty good, yeah.
Fucking great. For me.
The third season and the first season are fucking great, yes. No, the one with Aman is the first season, and then the one with the Zahir, those two seasons are really great. The last season is like and the second season is I don't love it. But yeah, I'm definitely not like, oh, this shouldn't be happening and I don't want it to happen. But I'm not gonna, it's similar to something we'll talk about now. It's not something I can be on board with until I actually watch it and it's good.
Fair. I obviously I didn't need more story with the original characters because how everything ended off was fine for me, but I'm intrigued to see. This is obvious, yeah. When and what this is gonna be, it's obviously gonna be.
Probably gonna be Zuko's mom and that whole journey.
Yeah. There were a few unanswered things there at the end.
I hope it's that. Yeah, the last season of Airbender ends.
Yeah.
Not ends, but towards the end, there's a cliffhanger where he goes and confronts Ozai, and he's like, "Where is my mother?" And then right after that is the last scene of the show, and I think there was supposed to be a fourth season, and then they scrapped it because of Shyamalan's movie, and it's like, Shyamalan, how much more can you take from us?
Fucker. Then next we have a good old Nick Cage in the old way.
I know, I didn't see that you actually did add this, but yeah, we did mention it. I don't think I saw the trailer.
You sent the trailer to me.
No, I just saw like, oh, this is a new movie. Let me send it to you. I'll check out the trailer later.
I watched it today, and the words you just used is correct. This is a new movie.
Cool.
Next,
about right.
Oh my god, I cannot wait. We got like a little teasy, not even a YouTube fucking trailer, just like an Instagram trailer for the night Logan woke up.
No, that's not for the night Logan woke up. That's for a different thing.
Huh?
It's a different thing. You should have translated Dolan's Instagram feed, bro. So it said this is a teaser for, I think it's like a short film that's attached to the night Logan woke up. It's called like The Night Laurier Awoke or something like that. And
you sent me the thing and then I thought there was a trailer.
No, in that same description, it also says international trailer for The Night Logan woke up coming soon as well. So it's like a different thing.
Well, then that's a dud. Moving on.
Anyway, well, it's still cool. It's like it's a part of it, I suppose, and it's like new Xavier Dolan is new Xavier Dolan.
Yeah. Well, then I'm keen for whenever we get a trailer because that's supposed to release like very, very, very soon.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be a trailer soon.
Right. Then we had the glorious and wonderful trailer, and I know you loved this one. For that 90s show.
Oh yeah, I did see that, and it looks freaking horrible.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to.
You saw that 70 show?
Yeah, I still didn't finish the last season and a half. Is there 7 or 8 seasons?
I think 8.
Anyway, I definitely didn't see the last season.
7 seasons because the 8th season is.
When does Eric go? Does he go season 7?
He's not in the last season.
I think I still need to finish 7, but I don't know if I'm going to.
It's like a Scrub season 9 situation. Like we just ignore it.
Yeah.
But that 90s show looks really bad. It looks like the worst kind of sitcom. Like that. like what everything you hate about sitcoms, it feels like it's that. And that 70 show was not that. Like that 70 show felt fresh and like yes, it had the typical sitcom structure and setup, but the humor and the characters felt very unique and true to themselves. Where this feels very like, oh, it's a sitcom. And remember these characters?
Remember how they used to smoke pot in the basement? We're gonna do
Remember
that again.
how Red used to say dumbass? He's gonna say dumbass again. Tune in.
But it's in the 90s, even though all the kids feel like they're from the year 2022.
Yeah.
After watching that, like I watched the trailer and only after that I was like, oh, this isn't the 90s. Like I watched the whole thing and I didn't think about the fact that this is supposed to be in the 90s.
Yeah, and that's what's so clear about that 70 show. Like the whole vibe of it is very like of the time that they're depicting.
All right. Then next we have when you finish saving the world with
is that the
Julianne and Finn, yeah.
That
we got a trailer for that.
That looks to me like it could either be really cringy or like quite sweet.
Same. I also feel like that can go one of two ways. But yeah, that's.
I'll definitely watch it when it comes out.
Same.
And it's Jesse Eisenberg's first directorial.
Oh yeah.
So that's interesting.
Hey,
look, we've been recording long enough that I got a nice little bit of shaped light here.
Nice. I'm have severe wind blowing outside.
Outline. And
it's getting fucking dark. Then we had not like anything big, and this is like an inevitable thing, like naturally. But PTA has started shooting, or is
no.
There was some news.
There's talks of him developing a film that he wants to shoot, like
next summer.
But
yeah, nothing more than that.
None of it is set in stone. None of it is confirmed. But
no. But also naturally, like he's obviously gonna make a movie again. So like
yeah. But it's also, the article does say that he's been wanting to make like a jazzy 40s kind of LA movie, which I mean, he's made so many LA movies, but he's my favorite director, so obviously I'm super stoked.
Maybe the next one will be the one that gets me.
You still haven't seen Boogie Nights?
That's true. I have not. I just have. Yeah, we've spoken about this many times. I have this weird thing with PTA, and I can't quite place my finger on what it is. Like I just don't connect with his films as much as other people do, and that bothers me.
Yeah, it's like the opposite for me. Like they feel so personal to me.
Right. Then we had
Love feels like my heart. Like I don't know.
Then yeah, I think I always just struggle to connect on an emotional level with his films, which is so weird.
So weird to me. Like I connect with him so emotionally, and like technically and everything.
Then we have
but I just also wanted to say, we don't know if that jazzy 40s thing will even be his next film.
Yeah,
like that's just something he's mentioned, like a type of thing he wants to do one day. So we'll see. I think the last time he mentioned like, oh cool, I want to make a high school movie set in the 70s in LA, and then 2 years later Licorice Pizza came out. So there is a chance, but you know, we'll see.
Then a franchise that is apparently still alive and well, Transformers.
Dude, I'm such a big eye roll when I saw this.
Yeah, so anyway, if you're interested, there's a trailer for a new Transformers film. Moving on.
I can tell you that we are not. No, I just want to say before we move on, it's infuriating that this movie gets money to be made when like people struggle to get their films made. and then they give millions of dollars to Michael Bay to make another fucking Transformers movie. And yes, they make money, but come on, is that really all we care about? Okay, rant over.
Well, as it's the people buying the tickets. So yes, speaking directly to them, you are right, Quibus. Then we had, I only saw this trailer today. I'm very keen because it looks absolutely fucking ridiculous. Is Cocaine Bear.
Oh, I sent it to you, yeah.
Yeah, but I've been seeing like stuff about it like for the past 2 weeks the whole time. And then today I finally like actually watched the trailer and I was like, cool, that's fucking bonkers. Great. And I love that they showed so much of the ridiculous shit in the trailer, like so many fucking kills and shit. And I was like, okay.
I hope it's as ridiculous and like in a fun way.
As ridiculous as a bear on cocaine can be without trying to realistically try and depict what a bear on cocaine would be, even though this was a real story.
On a true
it
story,
seems like they are going completely like over the top with it, and I'm very therefore I don't know what this bear actually did in the actual story, but I can tell you from that trailer it wasn't all of those things.
No. And also that's kind of like ridiculous over the top comedy kind of thing can also come off being very stupid. So I'm hoping
there was that one part where the guy like where they're in the trees and like, oh, a bear can't climb trees, and then some cocaine puffs out of his jacket and the bear just like like runs up the fucking tree. I was like, okay. But yeah, it seems like it's gonna be a wild ride. I'm keen to check it out.
Have you ever seen those videos of the guy talking about retail? He'll like say some stupid stuff that customers say, and then that music, that intense music, will like start playing.
Like, no.
But I think I know what music for it. He's in the trailer for it. So it's like viral like YouTube person or whatever it is, probably on TikTok or something. Is in this movie. But I always found his retail videos pretty funny.
Then I didn't even. This was, I don't know, not unexpected. Well, maybe because I'm not like on board and following anymore. But we got a Guardians Volume 3 trailer. I don't know. I wasn't
moving on.
Not that I was thinking about it, but I was like, oh fuck, there's a trailer. This film is coming out soon.
I will say the Guardians are like some of the few Marvel stuff that I've enjoyed. So I'll watch it, maybe.
Eventually, maybe.
I haven't seen the last like 4 or 5 Marvel movies. Like I'm really checked out with that.
Then,
but I like James Gunn overall. He's done some fun stuff. James Gunn. So,
then we got a teaser, a snippet, a shot for Mickey 17.
Bong Joon-ho, baby.
Yeah. I got a shot and I was like, I can't fucking wait to watch it.
Yeah, it's one shot and I'm like, cool, I don't need any more. I'm gonna watch it. Day one. I
don't even care about watching trailers for it.
Which I will, but
no. Then you sent this to me now, but I was like, this has been out for months and we spoke about this a while ago, but you sent me the trailer for The Patient. Steve Carell.
Oh, did we talk about it?
Well, I've mentioned to you before. I was like, oh, there's a series that Steve Carell's doing, The Patient. I don't know if you heard about it, and you said you had. But anyway, you sent me like this trailer like a week ago, and I was like, this came out in August.
I just saw like a Steve Carell interview about it, and I was like, oh, okay, let me check out the trailer. I don't know.
But yeah,
I've kind of bland.
I've heard people like talking about it, and I'm actually quite keen to check it out.
Looked interesting, but not like in a I want to really watch this kind of way.
Then segueing from Steve Carell into John Krasinski himself, and that is a segue if you know why. Then he has a new project, new film called If.
It's called. I don't know if it's called If or if it's called Imaginary Friends, because I heard it's gonna be, because in the same interview with Steve Carell, he was on Colbert. He talked about the new John Krasinski movie is going to be in called Imaginary Friends. And then I typed in Imaginary Friends on Letterboxd, and If came up with John Krasinski and Steve Carell. And I was like, okay, so maybe they're just calling it this for now. Maybe it's both. I don't know. But I guess that's what the If stands for.
Yeah, but the only stuff I really saw about it is like more people who are attached to the film. Like
I told you when I sent it to you, Ryan Reynolds being the lead in this is like a massive drawback for me. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I'm like,
Janusz Kaminski shooting it though, that's pretty exciting because I do think John Krasinski's direction in
Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place does have like a Spielberg-y quality to it sometimes, and Janusz Kaminski, obviously, very famously, is Spielberg's DOP. So cool that they get to work together.
Right. And then segueing from Spielberg into the new Indiana Jones trailer.
Yes, which we also just briefly spoke about.
Yeah.
And I told you that
there are parts of this that look like a real adventure.
Yeah. It looks like the Spielberg magic adventure kind of thing. And then there's parts where it's like, oh, it's a blockbuster in 2022.
So yeah, so I'm very 50-50 on the trailer, but I'm also
that balance
I also don't have any specific attachments to Indiana Jones.
I don't as much as a lot of other people do, but I think I have a little bit more than you.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you watched my first watch of this. You also watched with me, right? Did we watch all of them together? It's such a blur for me at this point. Like,
I don't think all of them. I don't think we watched Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Is that the fourth one that we don't talk about?
Bad one, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one's called The Dial of Destiny, so that's happening. Then we
also it's directed by James Mangold, who made Logan, and Logan's good. So
Logan's good. Then I didn't watch this. I don't think you did either, but we did get a new Babylon trailer.
I didn't watch it deliberately just because I don't. Yeah. I'm very sold on watching it.
Yeah, I'm fine with what I've seen, and I'm definitely going to see it.
There was already like more than enough. Someone just waved at me in the street. There was more than enough in the first trailer where I'm like, I really don't need to see any more of this.
Same. I'm like, I'm happy with what I've seen. I'm definitely watching it. So that dropped. Then I just watched the White Noise trailer, the new Noah Baumbach film.
Baumbach. Yeah, this one has been getting a lot of mixed reviews. Seems like a love it or hate it.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm like rushing to see it, but
I am
like, definitely the kind of
anything Noah Baumbach
definitely the kind of something I would watch. But yeah, I'll see it when I see it.
I like Baumbach. I like Greta Gerwig. I'm gonna watch it as soon as I can.
Then save the last
Netflix deal as well.
Yes, see this thunder. Saved the best for last. And segueing from The Last of Us, indeed, yeah. We got
Is that the best? We don't know.
The best news for last. It is a new trailer dropped.
For yourself, a new PTA movie trumps everything for me.
What?
I said, speak for yourself. A new PTA movie trumps everything.
That might or might not be shooting next year. That they might or might not be talking about. Is that yes?
Yeah, because sometimes he goes like 6 years without making a movie. So knowing he's gonna do one soon is good.
But yeah, a new Last of Us trailer dropped. If you know me, you know I'm a big gamer, and I absolutely fucking love both of these games. They are definitely. Yes, there's a few for tight first places. But anyway, Last of Us is in the top 3 most incredible games ever made. Ever. It's really, especially the first game, is just such an incredible story. So I'm very excited for this, and I'm very hopeful because I'm like, at least it's HBO, and they, for the very most part, they produce quality shit. They've got great track record. I'm very happy that Neil Druckmann, who like fucking directed and made The Last of Us, that he is on board with the project as well. The trailer, there's a lot of the stuff about the trailer that I do like. And in terms of casting, that I'll see and figure out the day when I actually watch it. I can't tell yet. I can't tell what the chemistry is, and the Ellie and Joel chemistry is so fucking specific that they're gonna have to nail that, and I'm only gonna see if they nail that chemistry when we actually watch the show. But I'm very excited.
I feel similarly about it. Like, I really love both the games, and I think they do about as well a job at doing what they set out to do as they could have. So it's like, what can a series really like add to that? Which isn't necessarily the point. It's just bringing it to a different medium. But the first trailer I was not on board with at all. I was like, this looks flat. This looks bland. There's something off about it. This one looked better, but still not in a way where I'm like, okay, cool, I'm sold now. Like, this is what I was talking about earlier with the Avatar thing. This is, I can't be sold on this until I'm actually sitting down watching it. Like, nothing's gonna like convince me, oh, this is gonna be great. Because I am like on the fence about it. That being said, like I said, this trailer looked better, and I'm excited for it, and I'm hoping it's good, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Like I'm on the fence. I'm more leaning towards, I don't know about this, than I am towards, yeah, this is going to be great.
I think I started off in the beginning with, I don't know how I feel about this, on the fence. Now leaning more into, I think this might actually be fucking great. My biggest concern still at the moment, and again, I'm gonna have to watch it, is I'm still not, I'm so on board for the Pedro casting. I don't know how on board I am with the Bella Ellie casting yet. But again, I will figure that out when I watch it.
Her, the things I've seen her in, she's been great in, but
I just mean that, like,
it was a weird casting.
Yeah, I just mean like for the character.
As
like
Ellie. Yeah. No, definitely.
I think I've only literally
Pedro,
seen her in Game of Thrones.
I like that choice, but I would have never. He wouldn't even have entered my mind for it.
He wouldn't have entered my mind, but the moment that it was announced and I kind of saw a snippet, and the first time I heard his voice as well in the trailer, I was like, okay. So,
I think Josh Brolin could have done it well, but that's just me.
Yeah, if it was a bit younger. But I think
I guess he could be like Last of Us 2 Joel.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of
not
screen
gonna
time.
Be a very long part. Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Last of Us, super fucking excited for it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, now
that's all of it for today. Then
you are going.
We have a bit of an announcement.
Yeah, you can do this. Go for it. Tell the people what we have in store for them.
Well, in the next recording, we're gonna have a guest, and it's gonna be my good friend Jason Watkins, who is also a collaborator of mine. He's currently the co-producer on a short film that I'm developing. So he is getting the recommendation for next time, and he is very graciously, and I think in a stroke of brilliance, recommended Face Off. So next time we'll be talking Face Off with my good friend from film school and my longtime collaborator in creative endeavors.
I'm very keen for this. I told you earlier this week, I was like, for some reason, John-Woo has been just like on feeds and I don't know why, just in content I've consumed, John-Woo's name has been coming up. Fuck knows why.
And then I was like, hey, Face Off.
And I was like, what? So yeah, I'm very keen.
Have you ever seen it?
No, I don't. That was the other thing. I don't think I've seen much of John Woo, so I was like, I want to get into this because people talk about his action films, and then this recommendation happened to come up. I was like, it's a sign. It's time for me to delve into John Woo. So
yeah, I think Face Off is a movie. We wouldn't be doing ourselves any favors trying to talk about it now. You just watch it and see where the conversation goes. It's such a unique, ridiculous movie. And you don't know how much of it is like supposed to be funny and not supposed to be funny. Yeah, it's great.
I'll probably check it by the end of this weekend, or yeah.
Aren't we recording Saturday?
I'll be.
Anyway,
oh, is it this Saturday? Okay, yeah. Well then,
I think so.
Tomorrow or the day after. Okay. Well, it's been like a brew. Thanks as always. I'll check you.
Yeah.
Put my leg up here. I'll check you on the flippy.
Yeah. Next time, Face Off. Good discussion.
Nick Cage, such a chilled person.
Nick Cage and Travolta also is crazy in this one. But yeah, we'll get to that next time. As always, this has been Snobcast.
Bye.
Peace.